Hey, I'm Aaron Augenblick.
I'm Christy Karakis.
I'm Stephen Warbrick.
And we make Superjail
staff.
And this is the pilot episode called Bunny Love. And we're going to take a look at it. Thanks for watching Superjail. And we're going to tell you some behind-the-scenes dirt.
Uncensored.
Of course.
It's like this guy's name, I'm already starting. This guy, when you start to watch this guy every week kind of escapes, he's kind of in the real world, Jackknife, and one cool thing was that we try to not have any talking in the intro parts, so it's kind of more like, the animation, and, I don't know, kind of has that kind of, I don't know if it has a 70s feel, but I don't know, it's just kind of cool, like no words, and it just kind of plays out like a comic or
And in season 1, I think we only say his name once, right?
Yeah.
It's the only time, so his name's Jackknife.
Yeah, there was a point when Jackknife was going to talk, and then it was better with just him sort of grunting.
It's kind of funnier.
Yeah, it's
dumb.
Funny that way. This is Jailbot. All the openings sort of are Jailbot versus Jackknife, and Jailbot works for the warden in Superjail. So it's usually Jackknife committing some dirtbag crime and Jailbot coming after him.
Yeah, and he usually escapes every episode, and each one starts up again with Jailbot reapprehending him. In a fun way.
So this is the opening title sequence of the show, which we change for every episode. One of the things was with Superjail was we didn't want it to be just that Superjail was some jail in outer space. It's sort of in some strange netherworld. So to get there, you have to go through all these different kind of weird worlds.
Yeah, it's like you don't really know where it is.
Are we getting yelled at?
I don't know.
Hey! How's it going?
Hold on. It's the super.
What's happened?
It's the super. And
Can't be on the roof.
pissed.
No, you can't be on the roof.
All right. All right.
I went to a party at the local county jail.
Well, the Jackknife openings are always happen in the real world, whereas Superjail is sort of just this strange alternate reality. So this is the opening is always Jailbot taking Jackknife from the real world to Superjail, and we didn't want to sort of set it up that Superjail was just some place in outer space, like on the moon or something. So we basically have him kind of going through all these different worlds, almost like they're all different universes.
Usually tends to get realistic to more weird, and then by the end it's totally,
So you'll see him just kind of go. I think in this one we go past a post-apocalyptic world, what is this, like horror world?
Chainsaw in the
Yeah,
Dead
like
Woods
ghost
world,
chainsaw world. What is this, like mythical
Kind of like
world?
like some Greek myth stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a cyclops and some
A
stuff.
damsel in distress.
Yeah, and then these clouds always form, and it's like, the warden's face, and this is kind of the gateway to
There it is, the portal.
And now we are in Superjail.
Superjail.
Do you want to talk about the the volcano?
It's funny that you don't really ever get this, but there's drawings of this. Actually, if you see the end credits, the end credits have these plates, and the first plate, they're all kind of cutaways of Superjail stuff, and this one is like Superjail's kind of like, this original idea was like that it was surrounded by these crazy things, like there's a desert, but then there's a jungle, and then there's this, and there's this like volcano, and there's a little thing at the top, and it's supposed to be like deep inside there's like a volcano, but in the volcano there's like an ocean, and then inside that is Superjail, and like Superjail's like a really big place, but we don't, I don't know how big or small it is, but it's like, it could be as big as a city, it could be as big as a country, it's huge in there, and like that cutaway, it's like, was supposed to be like, it's just so hard you could never escape, but this shot right here is like kind of a mountain that it's inside of. I don't know if that's, I don't even know if anyone would even get that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
People may wonder why it was
right
good old
there.
volcano, but then we're at Superjail. But
It's
in
got
theory,
everything, oceans,
Superjail is on
deserts.
the inside of this volcano.
Yeah.
Every climate is contained within it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
All the gods were dancing and the men began to wail. There's a rumor going round death row that a fuse is gonna blow at the local hop, at the local county jail. Everybody, what you gonna do?
Yeah, like this thing is supposed to be supposedly some kind of like prisoner drop-off point, that there's probably like a ton of them because there's so many prisoners. And that's the other thing, like with Jailbot, like the warden, it's like the idea of like he sends him out to like real jails, and like, so the warden's almost like a supervillain in some ways, because he's like sending his robot to get the most dangerous criminals from like real jails all over the place and then taking them to his jail. So it's kind of like,
Right.
it's kind of psycho when you think about it. I don't know if it, in the Superjail, a lot of the design is like this cuckoo. A lot of it has little, like the warden's such a like megalomaniac or egomaniac that a lot of it has his face or things like him on it, and then a lot of it's very like a child's. It's supposed, I don't know, like a kid's book or a child's world, but it's more like a nightmare.
imagination too, yeah.
It's like Neverland Ranch.
Oh,
And then this is like processing. It's kind of like this hellish place you go before you get admitted to Superjail.
Yeah. If you see in this shot, this is supposed to be like all the different inmates. These are all like, the billions of people are being processed into Superjail. So it's like, this is sort of the Superjail equivalent of like processing, where, they delouse you and
Fingerprint.
shower you. Like, so here they, they're kind of hitting him in the head with a beer,
of course.
shredding his clothes off,
Shredding with that light ray.
the whole thing.
Making him a cocktail.
Hello there. You're in Superjail.
This creature thing the warden has, I don't even think he's shown up again, but I feel like it's just,
He does.
It's just weird.
He shows up every now
Episode
and then.
4, he shows up.
Yeah.
I feel like he's something that, I wonder if he'll ever be more, but I like this guy.
Yeah.
It's just weird. He's like riding this
You're
thing.
in Superjail. I'm the warden, and you're a criminal. Now say hi to your new roommate.
So the warden is voiced by David Wayne from the State and Stella and Wet Hot American Summer and
Don't
a lot of
forget the
different
Baxter.
shows. The Baxter. He's in a lot of stuff. And I met David Wayne while we did an animation for a movie he did called The 10. And it was right around the
actually-
time that we first did Superjail.
The warden was like the last guy. We really couldn't figure out his voice or what he was gonna. I mean, we knew what he would be like, but we didn't want it to be like a total Wonka exactly rip off. But even though it's pretty wonky, but then like we were like, what are we gonna do, and blah blah blah. And then like Aaron said, they just got off this project, and he's like,
So I met David, and he was really cool, and we were like, let's try it out. And then
He's great.
He was awesome. So he's sort of become the warden.
Shut up, bitch.
Yeah. This Gary and Bird character is like Bird is this little bird. It's kind of like he's kind of one of the most high up kind of like dudes in Superjail. Like he's this cute little bird, but he's supposed to be a dangerous I guess a boss, you know. And like Gary is the other guy. He never talks. He's kind of his keeper. And so you'll see them a lot throughout the series. They don't really talk much, but they're supposed to. You're supposed to get the idea that you shouldn't really mess with them.
Yeah. Top of the food chain.
Whereas this other guy, their cellmate, this guy, Fat Cellmate,
Which is Steve.
Yeah.
Steve does the voice for Fat Cellmate.
he's like always getting like hurt or his ass kicked or beat up
He
or
never
something.
knows when to keep his mouth shut.
Hey, Gary, I got a worm for you right here. I'm talking about my penis.
Yeah, Alice is kind of like she obviously used to be a man, and she or is a man, or
You're not sure.
And Christie's the voice of Alice.
Yeah, so he would know. Only he knows the
Yeah.
actual
I know the real
truth,
secret.
what's going on down there.
I think she's like in between.
In between what though?
But she thinks she's a sexy woman and wants to be seen as like a sexy woman, but she's kind of like this like really, she's just really nasty and like, I don't know. Alice is weird. Alice is like, everything about Alice seems like crappy, but she's super likable for some reason. Because she's really like a bully. She messes with all the inmates. She's sadistic. She's always like messing with them and getting off on it. I mean, she's kind of like
And
a horrible
sexual,
person. But for some reason, I always feel like, I don't know if it's bias or...
And she's really strong.
Yeah, she kind of saves the day a couple times. It's kind of fun.
She's got big boobs too.
Thank God you're here. I'm starving.
Hey, Skinny, it's showtime.
Please let me have a bite of that sandwich.
Chris McCullough, voice of
For all you Venture Brother fans.
for the Venture Brother fans out there. That's Chris
Venture Man,
McCullough.
right there.
Yeah, Chris does like a ton of side character voices, so
He is amazing.
you can probably pick him out. And he's in the last few he helped out on the writing. It was fun.
Yeah. This is as sadistic as it gets, you know. Make someone who's starving dance for their sandwich. It's pretty good. She needs to be more sadistic all the time.
This guy too, I think, shows up in the background. That's one thing with the inmates. Like, there's a lot of inmates that are like totally generic.
Yeah.
Like they might not even talk, but I don't know. You just start to like the character. And we start to like throw him in the background in certain episodes. There's certain guys that as we were going along in the production would start to like pop up again and be like, oh, that guy, he's funny. And like certain guys would keep popping up, and then we'd start to. I think we joke about them, here, but it never comes out in the show. But I don't know if they'll,
Yeah, keep your eye out for all the inmates, because there's a few that string through every episode.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
pretty
always
funny.
showing up.
I'm so hungry.
Alice, where are you? You're late for the Monday morning meeting with the ward.
Damn it.
Alice, where are you? You're late and we have so much to do.
This guy Jared, like, he's like kind of runs the jail. He's like the it says accountant, but he's kind of more like a
he's
like
a manager.
Yeah, the manager. Like he kind of does all the work. It doesn't. Everyone kind of.
He gets zero credit for it. He's voiced by Teddy Cohen.
Yeah, your basketball.
Yes, I play basketball with Teddy, who is more insane than Jared really is. So, but he's a great guy.
He's almost not doing a voice. He's
Almost, yeah. Don't let him hear you say that. But yeah, Jared's turned out to be one of the main characters for sure. He definitely has most of the dialogue because he does the most.
Yeah, he's one of those ones too that he seems like this annoying guy, but you start to like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if it's because we draw these guys every day, but you get these soft spots for them. It's kind of funny. Like
we like them. We hope other
Jared.
people like them. You may all hate them, but we like them. There's a sweetness to Superjail that people don't notice,
Right.
because of all the violence. But there's a heart. There's a heart.
I never saw that guy before.
at 4 minutes 10 seconds in, there's a face we've never seen.
I think that's Mike.
That's
Well done.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, the thing is with Superjail, it's like it's all hand drawn. We draw it all here. Nothing shipped anywhere. So there's definitely a hand drawn quality to where. You know, you'll see a lot of stuff. People kind of draw what they want to draw sometimes.
Yeah,
so we see stuff every day that we're like, what the hell is
never
that?
seen. Yeah,
the staff's so amazing and talented. And like the cool thing about this show that we think is like if you're watching, like when you pause it or go frame by frame, there's so many little details.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden stuff.
Yeah, it's just really looks great. It's fun to look at, and
that's a good promotion for the DVD set.
Yeah. Should we say take a look at the numbers, the inmate numbers?
I was gonna say it for that.
Just take a look out.
Yeah, take a look at
numbers. There's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah.
More to follow.
Yummy information.
The twins are like these two weird guys that like you don't really know what they are.
Where they're from.
Are they aliens, or are they humans, or are they, what are they?
And why are they
big
not wearing
sandwich.
Superjail uniforms?
Yeah.
Voiced by Dicko, Richard Mather, who's a friend of ours from when we all worked at MTV.
Yeah, we still work together.
Yeah, we all met at MTV Animation back when there was one.
When it existed.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dicko does the voice of both twins, Twin 1 and Twin 2, and their voices are actually different if you listen closely. It takes a lot of care to make sure that it's the right voice. But yeah, I like the twins. You know, they're sort of mysterious in that some people think they're robots. They're not robots. They may or may not be aliens. They're sort of like just in the jail. We're not sure why they're there. They clearly can do whatever they want and come and go as they please, and we're not sure why the warden lets that happen or whether he doesn't know.
Originally,
it's pretty mysterious.
Yeah, it's weird because I think originally with the pilot and when we were trying to develop the show, they were kind of this litmus test.
Yeah, they were like litmus test for the warden.
Like the warden was kind of like they were supposed to be these super criminals or something that they were allowed to do whatever they wanted, and like if they couldn't escape, no one would be able to escape. But then as things went on, they just kind of became more like these funny, weird guys that were more like they just kind of like mess with stuff and cause trouble as opposed to being truly, super criminals or evil.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I think it's. I don't know. I know for me, like I like when stuff's a little more ambiguous. Like it's not totally clear like who a guy is. It just makes it. If you explained everything about him, it would kind of ruin it.
They're basically like Europeans on vacation, trying to be cool.
Yeah, they kind of have a weird
Nothing
vibe of like
Europeans.
dudes that don't fit in. Don't know.
And they can teleport, which you probably just saw.
Yeah, they seem to be able to do. They have powers.
Yummy tuna fish.
Alice, where have you been? I've been video paging you all morning.
So what? You're not my boss, you little wimp. Hello, Alice.
This is the warden's office. This is one of the few backgrounds that we can actually reuse from episode to episode.
Probably the only one.
Probably the only one.
Probably the one you see the most too.
So it's. I mean, do you want to talk about the decoration of his office? I mean, when Christy first came and showed me Superjail, I mean, that was one of the things that it was a sketch I think you had.
I think there was just some sketch of this, and I remember looking at a lot of like like being psyched about stuff like old Sesame Street and that one, the pinball one, where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, that one, like it kind of has this mix with a Dr. Seuss mix, just a real kind of fantastic place.
But he's there's definitely like a childish quality to the warden, even though he's sort of like a sadistic, you know, like egotist. Like he definitely has like a kid's kind of side. I think all of Superjail's sort of like that. There's that you know, heavy violence and but there's also sort of a weirdness
to it.
Yeah, there's like sort of an innocence to it a little bit. And I remember seeing this sketch that you did, and it was kind of. I remember you were like, I think it's probably too detailed for to animate. And I was like, I think we could do it. I think we could do it.
Just do the smoke.
Yeah, that's one thing with the show is like really trying to push like tons of animation and making it look really hand drawn and making it look like
filling as much as we can in every shot. And if you look closely in these scenes in the office, even the wall designs move. Like I think the moon is looking around and winking.
A couple times that stuff blinks and stuff. It's like, and you're kind of like, is it alive or is it you know? And I hope we. It's funny because it's almost like there's so much to think about when you're doing an episode. It's like you're thinking of the plot and you're thinking of keeping the pace up and the jokes and this and that, and you're trying to, you know, we kept trying to keep stuff like that, like, you know, things in the background move, or there's so much to think about that you know, it's fun to be able to try to push that, and I
What do you got for me?
Good morning, sir. I have outlined the topics for the Monday morning meeting.
Proceed.
Last night, there was a lava leak in Sector 7. We lost power in quadrants 5 through 9. That includes the cafeteria, where we suffer significant spoilage. I think it was the twins.
Ah, dos hermanos.
I think it's time we suspend their privileges, sir.
Let me worry about the twins, Jared. Oh, yes! New prisoner time! Jailbird!
We just picked up this creep at 0900 hours. Hadn't been out of real jail for more than a minute.
I hate real jail.
They never work, sir.
No, they don't. When my father, the prison mogul, left me his legacy, I swore to perfect the art of incarceration, but the world is not ready for my methods. So I went outside the system, and I created Superjail!
The scumbag gets off on rabbits.
You sick bastard.
Oh, there was an old sequence that got cut that was really cool, where I can't remember, did he say anything just there, or did we cut the line? It used to be like when the warden did that later in the episode, Jackknife was in the rocket and he went up to some like lunar base version, and then but it was like abandoned for like, you know, a long time, so it's all these like skeletons floating in space, and when it opens he like explodes. But then we cut it and we changed it.
But you do see him come back in the end.
He does come back.
Yeah.
Hey, little guy, underneath all that precious fur, all scared and all alone. If only they knew what it was like to be you. Jared, I want one of these for each and every inmate.
That idea of him putting on his head was some dude from Adult Swim, because we had to go down there and do like a rewrite, pass through the script, and like just, you know, flesh it out and figure out what was working, what it wasn't. And I can't remember I think it was one of the yeah, is that Aqua Teen?
Yeah.
I remember he's like, this is because we were like for us a lot of stuff's funny. Like I'm like, oh, it's a dead rabbit. It just seems funny. I remember that guy going,
put it on his head.
Like, that's like disturbing. He should like wear it on his head like a real crazy guy. We're like, that's a good idea. So, thanks.
Yeah, makes the joke.
It's not a moment to spare.
That indicates Jared's substance abuse problem, which rears its head several times throughout the series.
Yeah, Jared's like a real mess. Like he has all these problems, and we always joking about. It's not like he was like just used to be an alcoholic or something, but like just everything we could think of, he used to have a problem with. Like
super addictive personality,
yeah, and everything. And he's just a mess, and like he's kind of doing really good if you think about it.
He's doing all right,
but he always has these things show up like food and.
Yeah, you'll see throughout the season his vices sort of show up almost every episode.
They do cripple him.
I think he's like, we used to be a lot not cooler, but like he's not just like he was just this nerd all the time.
He's had a hard life.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think the warden's lost it. Bunny costumes in excess of 70,000? How are we gonna pay for that? Maybe if I allocate from the expense reports, move this to the bottom line, absorb that. The numbers simply won't crunch.
Hey, Bob, how about a little glass of me to get you through?
I told you to leave me alone! We're just going to have to cut all the extracurricular activities. I don't care what the warden says.
One of the things on the show that I think makes the show unique is that is all the transitions from sequence to sequence. We definitely try to do something interesting wherever we can when you're going from one scene to another, so it's not just a cut. And that can be something like this, where we're going through a wall, and then you end up with this whole vegetable garden scene, or it could be a whole scene unto itself.
Right.
But it's usually just trying. Superjail to me is all about overload. Everything's sort of overload and loading it with like way more things that should be in any show. Like we always say, like when we're doing the writing or whatever, that like this is easily a 22-minute show squeezed down into 11 minutes. And there's like any one of these things, not to toot our own horn, but like any one of these things could be a whole show unto itself. There could be a whole vegetable garden TV show. I don't know if it'd be good, but you could any one of these could be its own episode or scene.
Yeah.
But
Kind of like
that
little
you just
worlds within a world.
Yeah,
like,
you get a little taste of a whole nother world. And Superjail, what's great about the show is that Superjail allows for that. It's such an insane world that you can really do something like that. Like end up with talking vegetables that that are living alongside of hardened criminals.
Oh man, whiff! Relax, tomato! Shut the up, zucchini! Why would they cut the vegetable garden? After planting us and tending to us all these months, it just doesn't make any sense.
Looks like the vegetable garden got their salad tossed. The warden is up to something. We'd better investigate. Hacking into the mainframe. Already there. The warden's ordered bunny suits for all the inmates. What an ingenious plan. It could have been done and done.
Just have to click buy it now, and the order will be complete.
I can't believe this shower scene is
I can't either.
not censored.
Yeah. Tattoos. Coming up with new tattoos is another thing that we try to do. We do a lot of research in like tattoos, and
There's some crazy.
there's some
tattoo
really
stuff on the
insane,
internet.
amazing things that people put on their body,
it's
especially in
insane.
prison. So filling the inmates with lots of weird tattoos is definitely a challenge.
Is that the first
Yeah.
time you see these two dudes, the gay inmates?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It's
the
the
gay-
first appearance of the gay inmates.
Yeah.
They become pretty. They're in almost every episode, I think.
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
And there's Steve and Chris are the
Yeah.
voices.
Here are your new uniforms, girls. Warden's orders.
What the hell's gotten into you these last few minutes?
Would you remember to put the seat down?
Why?
Because I almost fell in. That's why.
Who gives a
Huh? You know what? This whole relationship is Here's your damn promise ring back.
Fine! Here's your promise shake back!
There's a big. I think one of the parts of the humor in Superjail is like this kind of like Looney Tunes-ish humor. Like I feel like it's a lot in this part. You see it like just trying to throw in visual gags that they're not really like witty talking, but it's just more like I think it's funny, but it could be dumb. But just stuff like the joke of the guy anvil on the head
while
type
he's spotting
stuff.
someone.
Like, kind of like old, because I know those old cartoons are so funny, and I know we like that stuff a lot. And I think it comes out even in the violent stuff. Like some of the stuff's really violent, but I think it's still also really jokey and
Yeah.
fun. I mean,
Definitely.
What have I done? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna lose my job. It's back to the Bowery for poor old Jared.
Relax, Jared.
Warden, I can assure you this isn't my fault. It was the twins.
Oh, isn't it wonderful, Alice? I set the wheels of justice in motion, and to the untrained eye, they're spinning wildly in a state of disarray. Yet they are in control. My controlled chaos. Whatever.
I think one of the cool things about the Warden is he's one of the few characters of the main staff that really can do anything. He's definitely, like Christy was saying about Warner Brothers, he's definitely the most kind of cartoony of the main characters, and it's kind of cool to kind of, like, because, like, with this show, it's like anytime there's, like, a scene of, like, just a lot of dialogue, we see that as, like, a red flag to do something kind of weird or interesting. We try not to have any, like, talking head type scenes. So, like, for example, like in this scene, I think, Christy, when you were laying this one out,
he's talking so much. It's like, what can you do with him to keep it visually interesting at the same time?
And so you had him sort of tie into a knot, you know, and do all this kind of weirdo stuff. And he definitely, like, I mean, you'll see, like, he turns into a bumblebee, and he'll grow big. I mean, he really can do anything, which is one of the more fun things about him.
It keeps you wondering too, because originally he was just this genius weirdo that made this place to reform inmates and stuff, but it's also like he's almost like the twins too. Like, does he have powers? Is it just a cartoon world? I think it's just a cartoon world, but I like to think sometimes like maybe he's a wizard. I don't know. Like he's like
a wizard with swords.
You mean you're not angry? But the twins, they've ruined everything.
Ruined? Well, they've completed my plan. Jailbot, take us down. I want to congratulate them immediately. Bravo. Bravo. Bravo.
Bravo to you. We love the new uniforms.
I think you boys need to step it up, because it's time for the big show.
Sir, we have to get out of here.
Adios, twins.
Audi 5000.
Hey, Janice, they forgot to crate up the meat delivery again. Let's get to it.
this might be too long of a story, but we made this short that was basically just no story and a big fight. And when Adult Swim saw it, when Nick saw it, the guy that had development was like, oh, we were like, oh, you guys should make a show, but it should have story. And the funny thing is we always wanted to keep that kind of crazy, action and fighting. And I think now it's throughout the show as it's gone on more, but every episode has a crazy fight like that's usually around 30 seconds to a minute maybe. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of the start of the big fight, but I mean, I think for us, like for me, it's like usually my favorite part of the episode. It's like the big no holds barred, crazy fight, and every episode kind of has like a different theme. Like this one's like wolves versus bunnies, but as they go on, they done some fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely adamant that we always wanted to have a fight in every episode. I mean, it's and keeping it like they definitely did. I remember them telling us early on, it's like if you want to have a fight in every episode, you're definitely going to have to keep it interesting because people will get bored, which is like, okay, a bunch of guys fighting each other. And so that's definitely been a challenge to us, both in the conceiving of the fights and then also just animating them, that like every fight is like no fight that we've done before. We don't want to keep repeating ourselves like, okay, it's another guy punching each other in the face, that there's some strange weirdo kind of twist every time that kind of makes it like, oh, you're seeing something new and we're not just getting lazy.
But yeah, I mean, that's been fun. I mean, that's been and the sound. I got to say too, the sound in the fights has been the place that does our sound. They do an awesome job.
It's a lot of work, and they do a
Britt
great
Myers,
job.
Great City Productions. They do all the sound design, and another thing, like like we said, that being like a 22-minute show. I mean, this is almost for him to do the sound for each one of these episodes. It's almost like doing a whole movie. It's
pretty dense
because it's so dense with sound. I mean, there's not too many scenes where it's just nothing happening. Almost every scene has some sort of craziness, and especially the fights. we've definitely been working those guys. Like
These
crazy.
wolves in the
And
cafeteria.
they kind of ride a line too of realistic and phony. Like like when there's like cartoony stuff where a crowd gets knocked out of the way and you hear bowling pins, but then there's stuff too where it's very visceral and like
bloody,
stabbing or chopping or ripping.
Yeah.
And so it's, interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I need to stop it where it happens or not. But one of the funny things in this was this Brit put in he was putting in, I think, for the bunnies like pig squeals. Is that what
Yeah,
and then
he
the
used pig
wolves.
squeals.
He mixed in a bunch of stuff in, and you don't hear it. And then after he said it, we were listening. I was like, oh, I hear it now. Like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of like pig squeals, and I think it's wolves for the wolves, but it's kind of like buried in there, but it's kind of neat. These are some of those ones too. Like if you pause it, the details are really funny. Like this guy, if you pause it when he sawed in half and look, it's like really. I mean, there's almost all the organs are in there.
They're all there.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
You can probably learn a lot of like anatomy from the Superjail.
Look at that! I see a spleen.
It's supposed to be like they kind of made it, and they made the meat. So when the meat monster comes alive, they're kind of worshiping it like a god. But I think sometimes it's a little like
What's
dodgy.
not to understand there?
They're like,
that's their god.
then he just see. Then he eats them.
Yeah.
See, he's a vengeful god.
Vengeful.
Jackknife from
Yeah,
from the beginning.
this is something we try to do in every episode, and I think we got to look for it. But he tends to always escape in an episode somewhere. Like in this, I mean, this one it's weird because he's coming back and then escaping, but he always kind of escapes. So then next week, they go to the real world
back
to
in the
get
real
him.
world again.
So if you look,
Fresh start.
sometimes it's pretty obvious, but sometimes it's hidden.
It's hidden in the
So-
back. Yeah.
I couldn't have planned it better myself.
You did plan it, sir.
Well, my plan tastes great. I mean, it could use a little salt, but otherwise it tastes great.
That's it for the pilot.
Yeah, thanks for watching,
Thanks for watching, guys.
I hope you like it.
Yeah, I hope you like the season. We got 10 episodes of stuff in addition to the pilot, and enjoy it.
Action-packed.
Action packed.
Thank you.